Okay, Chapter 7, Advanced Shell Programming. So with Chapter 7, again, it just talks about some flow charting, developing small programs within this chapter. We've been there before. You guys have seen this in some other classes once again. Also, a little additional information about flow charting. And finally, writing pseudocode. And this refers to corp phones and those files that we've been working with. So you can step through that, take a look at this for yourself. On to the point that there are two scripts that run when you log into your terminal. You have the bash profile, and then you have the .bashrc file. So typically what we'll do is edit .bashrc. Now within this chapter we are going to create some functions at the end of the chapter, and then we can make those execute directly out of our .bashrc file as we log in. So we're going to use a test. A couple different parts to this. We're going to use a test command, and this test command is going to bring back, based upon a condition, either respond with a true or a false, either a 0 or a 1. So there are a number of parameters associated with test. For instance, a -d, true if file exists and is a directory. So if there's a directory out there, you can check for it. If there is, it'll bring back a true result. A -e looks specifically for files. -r, true if a file exists and can be read. So there are a number of different options that we'll use with test. Now, again, file evaluation for using tests. 0 is true. 1s are false. You can always get that output by typing in echo $?. That returns the most recent exit status. So, first example, testing for a directory. Now, and this is some directory information about source. This is going to test to see if source is out there and is a directory. Okay, if it is, we'll type in then echo $? And then a result of true will come back. And then if it's not available, or if it's not there, it'll return a 1 as false. Okay, now let's take a look. List, and of course we have desktop, music, and so on as directories. So we should be able to test -d, again I'm looking for a directory, and then desktop. Doesn't return anything at this point. I have to echo $? And with the result of 0, it's true. Now let's go let's try test -d desktop 1. There is no directory by the name of desktop 1. Up arrow, up arrow twice, echo $? We can see that returned a false. Okay, so it's just returning true or false based upon whether a directory is there or not. The same will be true whether we're looking at files or anything else. Come back over here. We are testing for the existence of a file. That's -e. So if zoo1 is in the directory structure, then test -e zoo1 should return a 0. So let's see. We do have zoo1 listed right there within our directory structure. So test -e zoo1. Notice the case. Capital Z, capital Z. So let's see what happens. Test it, echo it, returns a 0. That's true. Now notice, and I'll try this. I haven't tried this yet, but notice there are no capital Z for zoo2. Let's try this. zoo2 with a capital Z. The file itself is a lowercase z, and returns a false. The point being that, as we've discussed, Linux is case sensitive. Okay, so we'll go on to here. The same thing can be true with numbers. returning trues or falses with relational integer tests. So again, number equals 100. We should be able to go echo $number. Shows us that that number is 100. Okay, now we'll go ahead and run this test. So test $number equals 100. Test $number dash EQ 100. I needed to echo $? For the condition. 0 is true. Now we know that EQ is equal to, GT is greater than, LT less than, greater than or equal to, NE not equal to. I want to go instead of equals, not equal to 100, returns a 1 for false. Okay, we can do the same thing with string options or string options with the test command. Do the same thing with strings. So test $name equals Sean in this case, and then we echo that. Echo $? Same process. -z test for a 0-length string. So a 0-length string is where the string has no value. So let's ls-l, and I'm not sure, I didn't really say that right, did I? You see the sizes right here of the strings. Sean, in this case, or I'm sorry, zoo1 is a 0-length string. Okay, so there's nothing in it. So if we go out and test for a 0-length string, okay, hold on here. Okay, as I got to thinking about this, I was checking on 0 file sizes, and that's something else. So what we're doing is checking on whether the string has a value or not, essentially. So if we go over here, and I'll go ahead and put in lname equal Sean. Okay, echo $lname, learn how to spell, and that displays the name. So let's do the test to see a 0 value test. So test -z $lname. Okay, echo $? So the 0 string test comes back negative, which means that it is more than a 0-length string. Now let's try this. Let's see, middle initial equal, and I'm just going to quote. Okay, and then we want to echo $mid initial. Okay, I see nothing there. Let's test to see if it's a 0-length string. Test -z mid initial, $mid initial, and then the output, it shows a 0, which means that's a true condition. That means mid initial is a 0-length string. Okay, we can also do the same thing. Hold on here just for a second. Okay, let's go ahead back to the Boolean tests to determine permissions. So we're going to take a look at zoo2 and those permissions that are set up on zoo2. This particular command will test. -r means read access. Okay, for you as the user. This applies to you as the user, to the file as the permissions are set for you as the user. So it's looking for read permission on zoo2 The dash A means and, so it's a logical and the dash W means write permissions on zoo2. Okay, so we'll go out here. First of all, ls-l zoo2, we can see read and write for me as the user. Let's test though, and dash R zoo2, dash A meaning I'm going to AND these together. So both have to be correct, both have to be true in order to report true. And then dash W zoo2. Okay, we will echo, and so the condition that returns is 0, meaning that both of those conditions are true. Now let's try this, and I haven't tried this yet, but if we take a look at the permission set for me, I don't have execute permission on zoo2. Let's run this test. And I haven't ran this yet, but yes, it should have came back this way, so it means it was false. So it does have read permission, but it doesn't have execute permission on zoo2. Okay, this next piece is adding or subtracting a write permission for the user, and then we're doing that same test. So we can go ahead and test for the permission itself, write or read or whatever. Okay, this is using translate to format your output. So if we look at cat zoo2, that's what it looks like. Notice it's delimited. So what we'll go ahead and do, and this command translates everything, all lowercase a to z, to uppercase a to z, and runs or feeds zoo2 into it. So zoo2, notice the delimiters. Okay, so translate, I think this should work for us here. Let's see, a to z. So any lowercase a to z, change it to uppercase a to z, and we're going to feed zoo2 into it. And that changes the case. Now, you can also go ahead and pull out that semicolon and replace it with a space. So now we have spaces there. Okay, all right, and then I think I'll probably go ahead and stop this first video at that point. So then we'll have part 2.